everyone to this webinar. Creativity is thinking up new things. Innovation is doing new things. The CDIP's IIC initiates startup mission to bring out the best hub. This aims to awareness and sensitization of IIC and its activities among students, building a competitive and entrepreneurship mindset among innovators and treat the pipelines of startups. Impact Lecture Series Session 2 under Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, Government of India and AICTE, co-powered by IIC of Chamili Devi Institute of Pharmacy. We are the one among the 645 higher education institutes selected from all over India. It's a pleasure to conduct this session. CDIP is playing a significant role in the holistic development of young professionals in addition to bringing the gap between all levels of quality education institute. The institute was established in 2018 with a vision to provide quality pharmaceutical education and create pharmacists who care for human health. The Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development Cell (IEDC) aims in imparting knowledge and skills vital for attaining managerial and entrepreneurship maturity among the members of IEDC, which ultimately elevates the students with effective and innovative mindsets. Now, I would like to invite our Honorable Principal, Dr. Arun Kumar Gupta, sir, to welcome the gathering.
Good morning, all of the participants present here, as well as our resource person who is here. We will have Dr. Piyush Khare with us. So, Dr. Piyush Khare, sir, welcome for your valuable input on the topic of drug regulatory affairs. Your expertise might be helpful for our students and other delegates who are participating in this Impact Lecture Series Session 2. So today in Session 2, we have two lectures. One lecture is presented by Dr. Piyush Khare, sir, while the another lecture on patent is presented by Dr. Anurekha Jain, madam. So again, I welcoming Dr. Piyush Khare, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So I would like to thank you all, especially Dr. Arun Gupta, sir, and Dr. Ashish Parashar, who is a very, very, beloved junior and, a younger brother to me. And Dr. Arun Gupta, sir, who is, elder to me, and he is one of my seniors. So I would like to thank you, and Anjali also, who has, demonstrated all what is the vision of CDIP and why you are going to and you are conducting this Impact Lecture Series. So thank you all, and thank you all the faculty members of CDIP who under the supervision of Dr. Arun Gupta, sir, are heading towards excellence. Thank you for inviting me to this Impact Series and giving me a chance to deliver my thoughts over this drug regulatory affairs, which I am on nowadays with. So thank you so much. Let me know when can I begin. So I'll straight away share my screen and we'll start without keeping you awaited.
Okay, thank you, sir. So as today the Institute's Innovation Council of CDIP is organizing the second session of Impact Lecture Series under the Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, Government of India and AICTE. So actually the objective of the Impact Lecture Series is to support the IIC institutes to conduct the lecture series and to make a connection, a strong connection between the innovation and startup collaborators in the state and national levels. So for that, we are planning to conduct more sessions on entrepreneurship and innovation space, which we will be really helpful for the young entrepreneurs. And today we have planned to conduct the first session on drug regulatory affairs, role in research and development. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to introduce a speaker today who is going to talk to us about drug regulatory affairs, role in research and development. This is a subject in which we all be deeply interested because it is going to provide strategic and technical advice to the new birds about pharmaceutical companies, right from the drug development to the successful marketing of the product. A speaker, although having spent almost his entire career advising people related to drug regulatory affairs, he is currently working with UK-based Wave Pharma Regulatory Services and is presently delivering his duties as Senior Manager Regulatory Affairs to support the UK, EU and US specific regulatory submissions along with support for release and launch of products for human use as per GDP and GMP regulations. He, having tenure as a associate professor and head of the Department of Pharmaceutics at Sri Aurobindo Institute of Pharmacy, Sri Aurobindo Institute of Medical Sciences, Indore. He is a recipient of Outstanding Oral Paper Award at International Conference of Biomedical Engineering, Singapore. Not only this, he has his credit publications and book chapters in journals and books of repute and edited book of his credit. He has always been seen as a speaker in various faculty development programs and student programs and conferences. Having more than 16 years of research, academic and industrial experience, all putting together, and has guided more than 14 students for their research or dissertation works at postgraduate level. Apart from this, he has shown interest in newer approach for oral drug delivery, novel drug delivery systems, targeted drug delivery system, and drug regulations. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Piyush Khare, Manager, Wave Pharma Regulator Services. Sir, heartily welcome to you. Just a little housekeeping before we start. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat box. I will bring them up whenever required or at the end of the session. To keep the quality of sound functioning during the meeting, please mute yourself when you are not sharing. I may also mute the room if necessary. Please remember to unmute when you wish to share. At the end of the session, I will be sharing two links. One for Impact Lecture Series assessment, that is the quiz, and second, the feedback form link. Please note, after submission of the above mentioned links, participants will get their certificates on their respective mail IDs till evening. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for introducing me. Although I am still a learner, and I keep on learning. When it comes from either of the sources. So it is not that I have been into or I have excelled, but I constantly keep myself abreast to the latest changes so that I may excel. Because in science it is always said that if you achieve any heights, you are still a learner because there is a lot more to learn. So without wasting any time, and yes, of course, I just would also like to thank in advance Dr. Anurekha Jain. I think if she is not here, I think I would request Dr. Arun Gupta sir and Dr. Ashish Parashar to convey my thanks in advance to Dr. Anurekha. Why? Because she requested, I mean, she had just honored my request, and we have exchanged the sessions because I have had some limitations today. So anyways, just convey my thanks to her also when she joins in her session. Uh, anyways, let me give a chance to share my screen, and then I'll just embark onto my presentation and then we can begin. So at the last of the, it is a very short and sweet presentation which I have designed keeping in view, the student, the budding pharmacist, because if I go into deeper into drug regulatory affairs, none of you would be having at the end of the presentation, you would have so many doubts. So this is just, I would be focusing on what is drug regulatory affairs and how do we progress, how does it impacts, into the product development and into the drug regulation, into the commercialization of the drug products, how it impacts and why it is necessary, and also what are the job prospects which the budding pharmacists who have joined this presentation and who have joined this impact series will benefit. So let me share my presentation. Am I allowed?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir, you are.
Wait. I think I am not allowed.
Sir, you are having the permission.
Okay, fine. Let me. Yes, now here you go.
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Fine. So today's topic, what I have designed is overview of regulatory affairs, role in product development and pharma industry. Yeah, did anybody say anything?
No, no, sir.
No, fine. So title can be any, but we would be focusing on the regulatory affairs. So let me give an brief intro of what pharmaceutical industry stands in and around the globe. So you have India as a budding pharmaceutical industry, or I should say it has been established and it ranks third in the world in terms of volume and 14 in terms of value. Means that in terms of value, because see our rupee is lagging behind dollar, so it is like 14 in terms. However, we are third in case of volume, means we are producing, we are manufacturing, like for example, if you say if 1 lakh of tablets are manufactured in and around the globe, India alone manufactures around 35,000 tablets. So that is how you can calculate what is the volume. Of course, the cost of production, it is 33% lower than US because we have lower labor cost, we have lower other expenses also. It is 50 to 55% cheaper than in Western countries, and that is why the world is looking towards India. Why? Because we can deliver with excellence and we can manufacture and produce with excellence the drug products of high quality within very, very, very less expenses. So this is why we have been, and we are being looked upon by the Western world, especially wherein if you see, we have 40% lower, expenses when we compare to that of the Western world. So you see, there are so many pharma zones coming up, and the government policy has also changed. And I am pretty sure that in near future you will witness API plants, because till now China holds a monopoly on the API plants, but now slowly and slowly we are also progressing into that. And I am pretty sure that the next decade will be of India in API also, because we have been instrumental, and government is very, very instrumental in setting up the API plant, so that the API doesn't come from outside and we are not dependent over the other countries in this case. Of course, cost efficiency, it continues to create opportunities. Why? Because we are producing in a very, very, lesser amount. See, for example, if I say, if you take a paracetamol tablet, you may get it at a rupee, 1 rupee tablet you can get it here. But the same thing, if you go to US, it may cost you around 50 rupees per tablet. So this is how, it is very, very less expensive here. Moreover, Indians are always known for their intelligence and for their skill set and their high managerial and technical competence. So it is like this only, you are progressing into this, and we are being sought after by so many industries in abroad, be it Australia, be it Japan, be it European Union, be it Canada, and be it US FDA approved plants. Indians are being sought after because of their skill set, because of their intelligence, and because of their hard work. So of course, India remains dominant and grabs approximately 35% FDA approved products all over the globe. FDA is the most strict regulatory agency. They would even reject any of those vaccines, any of those drug products, any of those nutritional products, just if they spy that does not match the quality. So, but even though we are having all around the globe, see, India alone is having 35% stake holding in FDA approved drug products. You can assume the excellence, the quality, and the skill set which we possess. We should be proud of that. Till now, maybe this was I had not retrieved the data freshly today. So maybe if you see, we have 665 US FDA approved company sites, the highest number outside the US. That means in US you have means because they have their own regulations, they can approve their own manufacturing sites and manufacturing plants. But outside United States of America, the US FDA approved plants in India, they are 665. It is overwhelming, and it is massive amount of FDA approved plants which India has. None other country is having so much US FDA approved company sites, because the FDA approval is very, very, very strict. So this is how the outset of the Indian industry, and it is going on par. There are ample opportunities. It is projected to grow over 15% per annum. Means it is like more than your own GDP. So the market is expected to grow over 65 billion US dollars by 2024. So that would result in 6th largest pharmaceutical market globally by absolute size. 65 billion US dollars. It is a massive amount. So my assumptions and my forecast is that there are in near future, if you are possessing a good skill set and if you are good at basics, nobody can stop you in achieving the what you say, jobs into the pharmaceutical industry. But the primary thing is that you should have good basics, because industry won't take you unless and until you have good basic fundamentals. So let us come on to the exports. It was 20.58 billion. We have exported such amount. This is in US dollars. You can assume, you can multiply it by in and around, I think 85 or 90, whatsoever the conversion rate is today, and you can see in rupees, it would be in trillions. So this is the data of financial year 2020, and it reached, even after the pandemic. See, we all have seen last 2 years, couple of years, which have gone into the pandemic. and we all of us were restricted at our homes. But believe me, because I am into the field of drug regulation, and drug regulation also deals into the commercialization of the products. My office was never closed. I mean, I was working from home, but it was more than, if I go to office, I work for 9 hours. In pandemic, we worked for 14 hours. We pumped it for 16 hours. Why? Because there were acute shortage of all those drug products into the European Union, into Australia, into US, into Canada. So we have to work and we have to be vigilant 24. So this is the industry which has grown even after the whole world was hit by the pandemic. So this is how this is the beauty of this industry. Fine. So let us come over to various other agencies which deal into the drug regulations, because most of those who have joined this lecture series, and they are at B Farm level, and so they might not have. So this is why I have prepared the slide. So in US, you have US Federal Drug Agency, which is known as US FDA, the most strict agency around the world. Then comes UK, that is Medicine Health Regulatory Agency. So it is MHRA, generally we call it as MHRA, and it is based in UK only. Of course, Canada, you have Health Canada. Then European Union, it is also one of the strict agency in and around the globe. So this is European Medicine Agency, which deals with the regulations. Of course, in India, you have Central Drug Organization, you have DCGI. New Zealand, you have Joint Therapeutic Products Agency. Russia is generally, it is the regulation is guided by Ministry of Health. In Japan also, the regulations are set up and they are regulated by Ministry of Health and Welfare. Germany, yes, Germany is Federal Institute for Drugs and Medical Devices. This is one of the prominent institutes which works in Germany, and this is a government institute, government agency which deals with the regulatory aspects, with the licensing, granting license, granting guidance, applying regulations to the drug products. Whatsoever drug products you want to market in Germany, you want to export to Germany, or even you want to manufacture there within Germany. So everything will be regulated by, it is known as Federal Institute for Drugs and Medical Devices, and it is B Farm. Generally, we call it as B Farm. Of course, Australia, we have Therapeutic Goods Administration. Then, of course, in international level, you might have heard of ICH. What is ICH? Generally, ICH was set up, to harmonize the regulations, because US FDA, you would have a different set of regulations. They would think differently. MHRA would think differently. EMA would think differently. TGA would think differently. BFARM would think differently. So this is all just to harmonize, because now world has gone global, right? So your drug products, generally, if you want to go to US FDA, you also want to go to MHR, you also want to go to market your products into European Union. So just to harmonize, we internationally, all those agencies came in and they formed International Conference on Harmonization, which is known as ICH. And most prominently, this is one of the things which is universally applied, which is universally accepted by each and every drug regulatory affairs agency in and around the world. Of course, then World Health Organization is also there, which has a hold over all those agencies, and they also publish regulations as and when there is some latest development, as they have published so many guidances related to COVID. Then there are so many other things also. So this is how, and this is what I'm talking about. This is all the regulated markets. Now, there is also another set of market which is known as semi-regulated, or generally like which comes like India. You have Indonesia, then you have Thailand, then you have Taiwan, then all those Indian subcontinent countries. So these are semi-regulated countries, and then South Africa. Then the third part is ROW, which is known as rest of the world. So in the rest of the world, the regulations would not be so much strict as are these into USFDA, MHRA, EMA, TGA, and all those. But yes, there are certain kinds of regulations. So they are known as rest of the world because they are non-regulated markets. Fine. So this is a brief overview about what we say about the regulatory agencies. Fine. What does the regulatory affairs do? And exactly what is regulatory affairs? So regulatory affairs is, it is a bridge between the government agency and the pharma company, because government agency generally they would inspect, they would evaluate, and then there would be some queries. Now pharma company, say for example, pharma company has produced some amount of you can say drug products. Now once those drug products are formulated, they are produced, they are to be marketed, say for example into FDA. Now FDA would evaluate those products. There would be a dossier. Dossier means set of information that would go to the agency. They would evaluate, they would have some queries. Now regulatory affairs, what it does, it between the pharma company who is manufacturing the product and between the government agency which is evaluating, there would be some set of rules which agency has set on, and there would be some queries from the agency. So regulatory affairs, it evaluates before going to the agency. It sees whether this drug product is applicable and it is allowed and it is recognized as per the rules and regulations of that particular country or not. If yes, then they would submit the the information, the dossier to that particular agency, and the agency will evaluate. Then once the agency evaluates, what happens? They would give some queries, they would raise some questions, right? So once those questions arise, regulatory affairs solves all those questions and finally gets a license, gets a recognition, and gets a marketing authorization into that particular country, and then it goes like that. So it acts as a bridge between the pharma company and the government agency. Fine. So why is it needed? Exactly why it is needed. Thing is, drug development and commercialization, they are highly regulated. See, for example, if I say, if somebody comes to me or to anybody, if they say that, see, I have developed this tablet. Now, it is okay to develop at lab scale. In labs, you go and you market, you formulate and you produce a tablet. But will that particular tablet which you have produced, will it go higher to into the commercial scale? Because in lab you would manufacture 1,000 tablets, but when it goes to industry, you have prepared crores of tablets. So generally, sometimes there are some pros and cons which are to be dealt with. So that process, that manufacturing thing has to be validated. Once it is validated, you have to go ahead. So drug regulatory affairs, what it does, it already screens that whether this formula which a product development scientist has applied, will it be, or will that be able to scale up, will it be able to commercialize, or there are some opportunities in there or not. Fine. Okay, then the path to drug registration, it is paved with good intention but can be complicated. Why? Because you have developed a product, and say for example you have developed a suspension, right? Everybody knows what suspension is. But if you see the suspension you have developed, it is very fine. Your suspension is acting good. You the dose and all those things, they have been all the things are fine. But when you see, you keep it at stability at 3 months or 6 months, and if it settles down, and if a hard cake is once it's formed, so no company, no business partner would be able to market your product, because until and unless it has a stability of more than 2 to 3 years or shelf life of 2 to 3 years, you cannot assume that it can be placed into the market. Because nobody will. If I say you that this product would vanish away, or this product would deteriorate within 6 months, so who is going to invest a huge amount of money into that? Because up till 6 months that product will be no more. I mean, it would be expired. And once it has expired, so what happens is you will have to destroy it. So there are chances that you will incur high amount of losses, and therefore stability is most important, and that is why the regulatory affairs sees whether the product is stable or not, whether even if it is prepared with good intention and it is acting well, but the stability they have to see. Of course, when it goes to patient, is it acting efficiently or not? Is it losing any efficiency or quality? So everything has to be checked on, and that is why drug regulatory affairs is needed to evaluate. It is a you can say watchdog over the manufacturing process. And also things change constantly, because earlier you used to have tablets, then came the sterile products, injections, then came the oral suspensions, then aerosols, so on. So everything has to be regulated as per the ICH guidelines and the local, regulatory guidances which are prevalent there within that particular specific country, may it be Germany or European Union or MHRA or Australia or US. Fine. So when we look upon the drug regulatory affairs perspective, what you see is you have certain levels. So this is what I just intend to make you sure, because you would not know what each of those points stand for. But then when we talk about regulatory affairs perspective, so the regulatory would ensure that all these three things are there. So majority is development phase, when you are preparing a product, you are manufacturing a product, and then you are developing it. So agency, we can sort out the advice on development. We can have scientific advices. Regulatory is not just preparing the dossier, keeping those information, sharing them. They also deal into the scientific know-how. Will this product act in future in the same excellent way, in the same qualitative way or not? Or will it be deteriorating? So everything they have to take into account. So development phase, they will look upon the initial quality aspects of the product. Then of course, when it comes, the product is developed, and if you are good to go, you go into the approval phase. Approval phase, you will have several application procedures, authority meetings, agency meetings, submissions, then readability testing. Even see in India, since it is a semi-regulated market, the full regulations are not prevalent here. But if you go to US, if you go to UK or European Union or Japan or Australia, generally, the leaflet, the information which you are providing with that of the product, that also needs to be tested. They ensure whether the end user, the patient, is able to read the instructions for use or not. And for this, there is a separate study. And this is how the agencies regulate. See the level of regulation. Even they regulate the upper, carton, the box, what is imprinted on that. Even it is also regulated which type of ink you are using to print it, which type of signs you are using to print it. Print over there. For example, if I say paracetamol tablet IP, they will ensure that the ink is in compliance. It is quality ink. It will not wash off. Also, the font size, is it readable or not? Also, will paracetamol tablet, it should not be bluffed with the other products. It should not be mixed. So it should have a separate sign, separate color, separate ink. At this level also, agencies work out. So the approval phase is a complicated phase. Once the product is into the approval phase, once it is approved, you get a license. Then, of course, say for example, you might have heard of post-marketing inputs. So once it is into the market, some will say that this product should have this. For example, if I place into the market a syrup for pediatric patients. So if I produce and if I market a pediatric syrup into the market, so I may have some inputs from the market that it is good if you place a dropper, if you place a cup, measuring cup with this. So this will come into the post-approval things, new indications. For example, if a drug, maybe if it is for fever, say for example, take the example of the recent drug, ivermectin. Everybody would have heard about. Ivermectin is anti-worm, right? But now in COVID scenario, because Monash University of Australia, they conducted a research and they were successful that ivermectin also acts on the early phase of COVID infection. So you would have seen many drug, therapeutic regimen, they included ivermectin essentially, and it has been the, special category or, essential drug category list of WHO. So this is how new indications come in. Now, when anybody prints out and produces any indications for ivermectin, they will also mention that it is also effective against the COVID, this coronavirus. Now, this all comes into the post-approval phase. How would anybody know? So then you have to place the research into the to the agency, and then you have to get certified, and then you can indicate that yes, this product is also applicable for COVID infection, preliminary COVID infection, like that. I mean, this is just an example which I am citing. There may be so many drugs and so many indications. Their indications go on changing or adding or deletion. Okay, for example, if you go and place a product into the market, and if you receive so many complaints that this is the side effect, then you have to add that side effect into your information. Once you add that, you have to place again before the agency, and that is what post-approval phase is known as. So it is not that once the product is approved, you place everything into the market. No, you also look out till the product is into the market. So this is how what drug regulatory affairs do. It is a very, very wide, you can say it is not just a department, it's an institute. Fine, see, this is just a slide which I have just put in there to make you understand that how the beginning from research to commercialization, what are the aspects and what all those things take place. See, you have research, then you have investigation plans, scientific advice, clinical development, preclinical studies, all those things. Then you go to the approval phase, you get a license, submitted into the agency's portal, and then publishing. That is another regulatory compliance, because you cannot send normal Word or PDF files to the agency. They are to be compliant to a particular software. Then there is a dossier which is compiled, and each thing, everything, even each annexures of a study, they also are attached. It is not like you can, it is all GMP, goods manufacturing practices, regulations are involved, and everything is documented. Say, for example, if you have conducted the drug content, calculator drug content for a tablet, and if it is coming 94.8, you have to write 94.8. You cannot, in our local, or in terms, chalega. No, it is not like that. If it is 94.8, you have to write 94.8. And there are cases which I have dealt with. There was a batch of around 10 lakhs tablet, and that whole batch was destroyed. Why? Because its drug content was coming below 95%. It was just touching 95%. It was 94.8 or something like that. And we had initiated like 3 to 4 times of testing. And after that also we received 94.8. The qualified person from our side, they said the batch has to be destroyed. So the batch was destroyed. So this is all those things which generally take place into the industry, So you have to be very, very vigilant and very, very strict. Of course, again, then we go to the clinical development, then we go into the commercialization. So once it is commercialized, again, you have to look on whether there are so many sets of inputs or complaints which are coming, because if it is a new product, There may be some complaints, then you have to look out that complaint, you have to investigate that complaint. And then after investigation, you will have to share to that particular patient the resolution of that complaint. Whether it is serious or non-serious, it is related to quality or it is related to, pharmacology, pharmacovigilance, everything you have to look upon. And believe me, when I am saying this, we also have some complaints. There was a batch of, I would not name the drug, which we marketed to Netherlands. And we had around 10 complaints that once we take out the tablet from the blister, the tablet breaks into two parts. We had to investigate. We had to invest money and then investigate why the tablets are breaking. And then after investigation, believe me, we reached out to the pharmacy, we reached out to that particular patient who has complained, and then we resolved that, and we had provided the investigation report to that particular patient. This is how regulated market works. Because if you don't respond, they would cancel your license. So this is very, very clear when we talk about regulated markets, and this is the slide which I have just placed in for research, approval, and commercialization. Of course, what is the role of regulatory affairs then, which I have already updated, but even though I'll just read out, you have to set up a regulatory strategy, then you have to prepare a plan, work plan, a blueprint that your product should not fail. You have to calculate in advance that this is the development. Now I have to market the product like within a year. So this would be produced in this particular manufacturing site, which is already GMP compliant and approved by the agency, inspected. This is how the API will come. So every plan has to be set up. Okay. Then you have to advise on those scientific advices, lies upon with regulatory agencies, know their lookouts, plan the strategy again. In case there is deviation, in case any failure, you have to have a risk plan. Once if it fails, you have a plan B. If plan A fails, you have plan B. So everything you have to strategize. Sorry. So you have to participate into cross-functional teams. There can be quality control team, analytical development team. You have a product development team. You have a manufacturing team. Then again, you have quality assurance team. Everything you have to participate and you have to coordinate between those teams so that your project is a success at the end. Fine. So this is how you in line also you have to prepare all those regulatory guidelines. You have to stick to those guidelines. So this is the role, broad role of regulatory affairs. If I go on considering each and every point, it will take another 2 hours to discuss a single point. How you regulate. How you plan a strategy, how you participate in cross-functional project teams. For examples, there are so many. Now, see, whenever you go into the market, every plant, any manufacturing site, when you commercialize, of course, yes, you also think for your profit. Now, profit is when you minimize the time. I was reading on a news yesterday. So there is one expressway which has been constructed. I think you people might have read about it. It is Bundelkhand Expressway. So that project was the cost is 2,200 crores of that expressway. Now, the last date, the deadline for this expressway was February 2023. And now this is July 2022. It has completed well before 6 months. Now, can you assume before the deadline, they have completed the project and how many amount they have saved? They have saved 1,132 crores. So this is just an example out of this context. In this case also, if you, because see, there are so many players into the market. Say, for example, company A, company B, company C, Cipla, Cadila, Zydus, Ranbaxy, Sun, they all would be producing same amount of same kind of product, and they would be placing into the market. So once they place into the market, what happens is those who place on priority, they earn more profit. So regulatory affairs, what it does, it minimizes the time to commercialize. Of course, they would advise on global development plan, because profit is made when you go to every part, when your product reaches to every part of the globe. Then you have efficiency in dossier preparation, all those things you have to calculate. You have to review those cross-functional team documents, interact with the commercial side of the business also, so this is why regulatory is above a watching team, also reviewing team, also managing team. So this is how it works down. Fine. Now if I say into regulated market, the common technical document or the dossier, it is into the, just for your information, it is into divided into 5 modules. So module 1 is administrative, means what is your company's name, every GMP certificate, every contact person, phone numbers, even their qualifications, all those administrative part about the drug and the manufacturing site. Then module 2 is just a summary of all those modules. Okay. Module 3 deals with the quality of the drug product and drug substance, means API. Then 4 is preclinical animal studies, toxicological studies, toxicokinetics, pharmacokinetics, and all those things. Module 5 is the clinical studies. They are known as, clinical trial studies, bioequivalence studies, bio studies in humans. This is module 5. So there is also a separate department which deals with the clinical and preclinical under the aegis of regulatory affairs, and it is known as pharmacovigilance, PV department. So medical affairs. So drug regulatory affairs is a broad term. Then you have regulations, and then medical affairs, pharmacovigilance, quality, all those things. Fine. Once it is approved, during the approval phase, as I already have discussed, you will have to answer the questions from the agencies, right? You have to plan and manage the agency meetings. Of course, there can be some plans. Say, generally in regulations, what we do is we have also to save the cost. So if agency says you have to do this study, if I can justify that I do not want to do the study and this is the justification, I will save, say for example, 70 lakhs of rupees. So that would be in surplus. Of course, it will also save time. So my product will into the market earlier than the other companies. So we also deal into the scientific aspect of that particular product. So this is how we sort out this approval phase. Post approval, there can be renewals, there can be pharmacovigilance, as I already said. If you have any side effects which are inputted from the patients, from the market, any complaints, you have to deal with that. And if you want to add something, again, you have to plan a variation. You have to plan that particular thing. Say, for example, if you want to change the existing, pack or the outer box of your drug product, if you want to change the design, then you will have to look upon how much amount of product is into the market right now and how you are going to visualize it. If you change this outer, what you said, a design, is it going to impact? How it is going to impact everything? Regulatory intelligence means you have to keep abreast with all those changes into the market, all those complaints, everything. Now, this is a brief, slide again, wherein you have the regulatory affairs, everything, in and around that circle. So you have regulatory compliance, it is post approval. This is a different department. You have artwork and labeling. This is a different department. Publishing, submissions, different department. Initial marketing authorization and investigational findings, different department. Of course, regulatory compilation, dossier and document services, different department. So regulatory affairs, as I already said, is a broad, you can say, head under which different teams work out. So this is just a small presentation video. If I hope if it runs on, I will just try. So fine, this was a small presentation. So you have to manage the work pressure and you have to think, meticulously, scientifically, logically, and you have to make a project success. So this is how, this was just a small video which I have captured from online from somewhere. I don't remember. So of course, when you again go into the product development phase, what have you, I mean, this is also, if some of those MFARM students, if they are online, they can also chalk out these particular things. How do you analyze and evaluate that this product is going to excel or not? So the very first thing is, identification of customer needs, whether that particular product would be active in that market. Because see, if say for example, if you have prepared a formulation or a cream, okay, which generally, or say let me take another example. See, if you are going to market anti-malarial drug in France, so you won't have any market. Why? Because France is mosquito free. So if France is mosquito free, they are not going to hit by malaria. So if you go and take the anti-malarial drug product into France, you are not going to earn, or maybe you would incur losses there. So this is how identification of customer needs and target specification. Then you have to arise the product concepts. Which product it is, tablet, suspension, syrup, cream. Then you have to select those specifications. Then you have to execute the plan. How will it be manufactured? Where will it be manufactured? That plant has plant or manufacturing site has GMP, everything. Then economic analysis, so everything comes within the aegis of drug regulatory affairs. Until it is executed, then it is marketed. Then so this is how you have an aim of designing the quality product. Then consistency in manufacturing. This is also one of the things, because once you are manufacturing one batch, then two, then three, then four, then five, then 10, then again you have to manufacture. So intra-batch quality should be taken care of. It is not like that in one cream it is very good, other cream it is or suspension it is sedimentation, or it is deteriorating. Not like that. Every batch should be of the same quality. So this is how you go on. And basic for the drug regulatory affairs is that whenever this is planned out, once if you shift from original design, again role of regulatory affairs comes in, and they say that yes, how we can mitigate the risk. So this is all about the aims and informations. Fine, of course, as I already told you about the type of dosage forms, they have different challenges, and you have to strategize and you have to plan out in advance how it is suitable. Can it be marketed? Is there any share of that there or not? It encompasses API, excipients, container closure system, which is also it is also regulated. Container closure means the bottle in which you are filling the syrup or suspension, that also should be regulated. It should also have some compliance Because if you are having glass bottles, they will 101% they will see, is there any leachable or extractable into that? If it is a plastic bottle, is there any extractable or leachable into that? Everything agency sees. So, you can have different attributes, different materials. They can have to have wider knowledge, and then you can select from there. Okay, and then there are risk-based regulatory decisions. So this is all about pharmaceutical development contents. Of course, process improvements. See, for example, if you are preparing today, you have prepared or formulated or manufactured thousand or lakhs of tablet. If you can approach in manufacturing some, say, 10 lakhs tablet per day, then of course your time will be saved, and then you would go on the path of economic achievements in terms of money, in terms of time. So this is all about the planning and strategy. Fine. So this is again components of drug product. What we see into the drug product. So what you see is base material, which is the API. Then you see the excipients, lactose, calcium, and everything. Remember, and believe me, if you use lactose, if you use magnesium stearate, you use talc, you use aluminum hydroxide, anything whatsoever you use, it should be compliant to the regulations, to the pharmacopoeia. You cannot use any such material which is not complying to pharmacopoeia. So it applies also into the biotechnological products and all those things. Say, for example, physiochemical properties. If you have heard, and if you if you have read out Martin Physical Pharmacy or maybe other drug books, there is an example of chloramphenicol where, if I remember, there are different polymorphs of chloramphenicol, and one polymorph, it is soluble. So we have to take, I think it is polymorph B or like that. So at this level, you have to think that if we are taking drug substance from a API manufacturer, the drug manufacturer, now you have to ensure that he or she or that drug manufacturer supplies chloramphenicol with polymorphic nature of B. Because if they supply, and if the product is manufactured, it will all go wasted, because that will have no solubility. So like this, we can think of that. We need to develop everything in this way. Fine. Of course, excipient has already told you, it is like characteristics. It is influencing the product quality, influencing all those properties. Because if you use a particular quality of lactose, you would have different hardness. If you use super disintegrants, you would have different disintegration. Like that, you have to judge, and you have to think upon how it can be instrumental in shaping the quality of your product. Fine. This is again another video, just so that everybody understands.
Before patients can use a new medicine, it needs to be approved by an independent health authority, such as the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA in the United States, or the European Medicines Agency, EMA, in Europe. Each country, or in some cases a region, has its own health authority, and it is their job to ensure new medicine is safe, effective, and is made with high quality. Getting a medicine ready for this review and approval process involves many steps and typically takes almost a decade. During this time, the drug manufacturer carries out extensive tests on the medicine. This process begins with preclinical tests, which typically take place in a lab and help scientists determine if the medicine could work. If the results are favorable, the manufacturer proceeds with clinical trials in humans to see if the drug is safe and effective. If the clinical trials produce strong evidence that the medicine is effective, safe, and has a positive benefit-risk profile, the manufacturer submits an application to the health authorities to have the drug approved for use. This part of the process typically takes about a year in most countries. In some countries, the approval process can be accelerated for a medicine that could fill an urgent medical need or offer major advances in treatment. During this time, a panel of physicians and scientists at the health authority, and sometimes other experts who provide independent guidance to the health authority, review all available data on medicine and decide if the benefit to patients outweighs the risks. Ultimately, the health authority decides whether to approve the medicine or request more information. Receiving an approval means the medicine is ready to be manufactured and prescribed to patients. The process does not end there. Health authorities and manufacturers continue to monitor the medicine's safety and efficacy for the life of the product.
So this was all about how you get an approval and how you market it. So it was taken from Novartis. Again, thanks to them for shaping out such a nice video. Of course, again, if you see, we have, when you develop a product, you have a controlled strategy, you have some critical quality attributes, risk assessment, and quality target product profile. What qualities you want to imbibe into the product that are planned in advance, so that once the product is formulated, it is manufactured, you have all those quality attributes into that product so that it can be marketed efficiently and you get approval within no time. So this is all about, these are the job prospects which are of particular concern to the students. You can go into the project management. I mean, this is about the regulatory affairs also. I mean, the strategy and planning, submission management, then maintenance management, post-approval changes, then quality specialist dealing with module 3. Then you have clinical specialists with module 4 and 5, labeling, as I already told you, regulatory intelligence, a different team which looks upon the latest developments, and the global versus global regulatory affairs means the team of regulatory affairs which sees which are the more potential areas and how the regulations are changing and we can market in South Africa or in Bangladesh, or then how can we proceed to Japan or to US or Canada or Iman, and so on. So this is the job prospects. There are variety of jobs within the regulatory affairs regime. So I mean, if you are good enough at the basics, you can certainly move ahead. Fine. So I would again, embark over the capabilities which I've already told you. You have to keep yourself abreast to the latest changes. You should be fast but precise. There is no room for mistakes. Then you should be good at reading, good at writing, and good in communication. These are all the prerequisites which are necessary for a person to enter into that regulatory affairs field. Know yourselves. You have set your deadlines. You should be collaborative. You should have to learn new things and all those things, and you are good to go with the DRA. So with this, I just finish my presentation with the words of very, very reputed scientist, Professor C.V. Raman sir, with the thought of Rigved, Ano Bhadra Kratvoyantu Vishwataha. That means let the noble thoughts come to us from all and every direction in the universe, because once you are open to those noble thoughts, you are going to excel in any field you choose upon. Mark my words. Professor C.V. Raman said, I am the master of my failure. If I never fail, how will I ever learn? So don't be disappointed by failure, because I myself, when I was in academics and then into research and academics and then moved on to DRA, so I faced so many challenges, but never gave up. So with this, thank you so much to all of you for listening patiently to me. Thanks once again to Dr. Arun Gupta sir, Dr. Ashish Parashar, Anjali, and all those faculty members, and also students of CDIP out there who have listened to me patiently. Thank you so much. Over to you, Anjali now.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Okay, so I think since starting till the end, you kept us captive. Okay, since not for a moment we will be able to move here and there or think anything else. It was such a interesting session, sir. Thanks a lot. Okay, now I think if from the viewers anyone is having any questions, they are free to share.
Madam, I want to ask something. Yes, sir. Good morning. And thank you for accepting the invitation to be a native speaker for this program.
My pleasure.
Actually, sir, I want to ask कि हम लोग सर अपने करिकुलम में जो बच्चों के लिए ऐसा क्या करें कि बच्चों का इंटरेस्ट डीआरए की तरफ जाए, क्योंकि बी फॉर्म लेवल तक बच्चों को इस फील्ड के बारे में ज्यादा नॉलेज होती नहीं. तो अभी सर आप क्या सजेस्ट करेंगे, क्योंकि आप टीचिंग में भी थे, तो कि हम लोग कैसे बच्चों को इस तरफ मूव कर सकें?
मेरा कहना यही होगा कि हम उनको थोड़ा सा फार्माकोपिया के जो जनरल चैप्टर्स हैं वो हम पढ़ाएं, जो कि हमारे करिकुलम में नहीं होता है, जनरली नहीं पढ़ते हैं. बिल्कुल, मतलब जो फैक्ट है वो है, और आईसीएच गाइडलाइंस, और उससे हम रिलेट करके बताएं कि हमें कैसे उसको उसका क्या इफेक्ट है. बेसिक हम जो है, जैसे जब मार्टिन जब बच्चा पढ़कर आएगा, या 4th ईयर में आप लैकमैन पढ़ते हैं, तो लैकमैन जब आप टैबलेट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पर आते हैं तो उस टैबलेट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से रिलेटेड एक मोनोग्राफ भी है, जनरल चैप्टर है फार्माकोपिया में, तो उसको कोरिलेट करके एक हम या तो लेक्चर आप कहीं से अरेंज करा लें, आप खुद भी दे सकते हैं. तो उससे उनको समझ में आएगा कि जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या है, और जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं उसको हम किस रेगुलेशन के तहत हम आगे ले जा सकते हैं. तो उसको उसमें फिर मेरे ख्याल से इंटरेस्ट आएगा, तब वो समझ पाएगा कि जो हम यहाँ पे टूलिंग पढ़ रहे हैं, बीबी टूलिंग है या जो बी टूलिंग है, या हम जो डिसइंटीग्रेशन पढ़ रहे हैं, वो डिसइंटीग्रेशन कोटेड टैबलेट के लिए, अनकोटेड के लिए, कंप्रेस्ड के लिए या डिस्पर्सिबल के लिए वो डिसइंटीग्रेशन टाइम कितना है, तो वो कहाँ पर मेंशन्ड है. हम पढ़ तो रहे हैं यहाँ पे कि इतना होना चाहिए, डिसइंटीग्रेशन क्या होता है, वो कितना होना चाहिए, वो फार्माकोपिया से और आईसीएच से आप एक बार देखकर, प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट देखकर थोड़ा उसको कोरिलेट करेंगे तो इंटरेस्ट आएगा.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर.
Thank you, sir. It seems that everyone wants to express appreciation of your inspiring presentation. Your years of experience, your depth of understanding of interferences, and your ability to present the subject in such an interesting way produce one of the most memorable day in a group's history. I personally appreciate your anticipating knowledge, and the subject intrigues me, and I plan to learn more, definitely, sir. And it was such a nice session. You have included the videos also, so it was very interesting. So please accept a sincere appreciation for the outstanding presentation you made to the CDIP. I'm just sharing you the screen. Thank you so much, sir. It was interesting about you. Oh, definitely you have given some stories with examples. The slides you have shown gave a close vision what exactly you want to tell. And definitely in this discussion we have learned that the regulatory affair department of pharmaceutical companies is responsible for obtaining approval for new pharmaceutical products and ensuring that approval is maintained for a and I think long as the company wants to keep the name. It serves as the interface between the regulatory authority and the project team. And I think it is the channel of communication with the regulatory authority as the project proceeds, aiming to ensure that the project plan correctly anticipates what the regulatory authority is approving before the product. And it is the reputing of the regulatory authority to keep abreast of current legislation guidelines and other regulatory intelligences. So this is something what we have learned in the session. So now, sir, on the behalf of CDIP, I extend my really heartfelt vote of thanks to you. You have spared your valuable time from your busiest schedule to grace the occasion. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in a future events. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and have shown us new path. A special mention to our respected principal, Dr. Kumar Gupta, sir. to being the catalyst that stimulated us to do a best and standing pillar of the strength. With a deep sense of appreciation, we thank lovely faculty members for their intense efforts. Finally, I would like to thank a budding rock stars that made this event a successful. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining with us. Thank you, Dr. Piyusa. Thank you. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you so much. My pleasure. And I would also like to, announce one thing with the permission of Dr. Gupta, sir.
Definitely, you can.
We in our company, we are looking for M.Pharm pharmacology and B.Pharm students who are, or M.Pharm students who are extra meritorious can also share the CV to me.
Okay,
I will be sharing my
your-
mail ID to Ashish.
Yes, sir.
Definitely, sir, we will send you the few students who perform very well in their academic. So
Yes.
definitely they will put their names in somehow in a better manners, and they might learn from you. Thank
My
you,
pleasure.
sir, once
Thank you,
again.
sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all for joining with this webinar. In the second half, I think 1:30 sharp, we will start the second lecture series. So please join us again. Thank you.